Yo, welcome back to the GM Podcast. I'm Miller.
It's Gav.
And today, we are discussing the 40-22 win that my Eagles just took in the Super Bowl. And, yeah, man, I'm obviously going to start off this video because It is my squad. And I'm going to keep this humble today, okay? I'm going to keep this humble because we're at the mountaintop now. There's not too – wait. What? I'm filming a video. Hold on. Wait, what?
You're good. It just started.
Wait, blow the what? Blow the what?
Blow the whistle?
Yeah.
Medea.
Bow! On and on. Can't understand.
Look at this.
Woo! Woo! 25,000 hours. Boom! Get him the belt.
Yes.
Get him the belt.
Oh my goodness.
We good.
Oh my goodness.
Hey.
That's a great way to start the video. We're not cutting that.
Ain't no way I'm going to be humble in this video today. Ain't no way I'm going to be humble. Hey, Jalen Hurts was humble in his press conference. Sirianni was humble in his press conference. Cool. That's not me, though. Hey, Gav, I'm coming for you first. Hey.
Go ahead.
Mahomes. I just can't bet against this guy. Why?
I can't.
You didn't watch the games. Nick Wright. Everyone who bet money on the Chiefs. Micah Murray. Bryson Moore. I'm calling them all out. There is not one person safe who bet on the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, I said it all year long. All year long. All right, sorry. All right, we are going to keep it peaceful now. Once again, I want to start this off with talking about Jalen Hurts, okay?
Right.
And I'm going to ask a question since I am a little bit of a host. Where now do you have Jalen Hurts in your hierarchy of quarterbacks? I need to know. I need to absolutely know.
I would not put him over Joe Burrow.
Cute.
I would not put him over Patrick Mahomes.
Of course.
I would not put him above Josh Allen. And for right now, only for right now, I will put him over Jaden Daniels. Only for right now.
Hey, man. Hey.
But, like, it's not a long-term thing. Like,
and that's fair. That's fair.
And my favorite player, second favorite player, I love Mahomes, I'm not going to lie. My second favorite player on my favorite team, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson. For me, playoffs matter about probably compared to regular season, I would say about 70-30.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that one.
So for right now, until hopefully before he retires, Lamar just needs one run, but for now I'm going to have to put him over. So I would say, does that make him 5?
Yeah, that's fine. Five is exactly where I would have him right now. Obviously over Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels has only had 1 year, but Jaden Daniels probably will progress to be better than him.
He will.
But this is what I have to say. When you take a look and why it's so important when Jalen Hurts talks about winning is because that's all that matters to him and it reflects in the game. Because what happens is he lets the games come to him the entire season, and when we get to these points, he looks ready every single time. And this is what I've been trying to state for months and months and months of football, that this guy in the highest moments of play will perform. He will perform. And what he does better at than the guys that you mentioned, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, is he manages his situation better than they manage theirs. And yes, Josh Allen, he played a great game against the Kansas City Chiefs. He did. I won't lie. But last play of the game, he had an open Khalil Shakir in the flats that he could have hit if we're just talking about coulda, woulda, shouldas. Joe Burrow wasn't good enough to get his team to a playoffs this year. Lamar Jackson against the Buffalo Bills threw 2 crucial interceptions. And when we talk about these high-level guys, high-level passers that throw the football with great touch, great accuracy, great arm power, we don't account for the fact that when their play decreases in the postseason, their team is depending on them to make those plays in the postseason. So when they don't get it, their team is left for dead. And that's just the reality of the situation. Justin Herbert, same thing. Justin Herbert, you had 3 interceptions the entire regular season. You get into the playoffs, you throw
You know I'm not a Herbert guy.
interceptions. Once again, and I will state this for the 1,000,000th and 17th, 11th time. I see the arm talent, the speed, the build, the great attributes of every single quarterback that gets named. All of these first-round guys that get named, I see it. But intangibly, when it comes to these late-game, late-season situations, I have trouble trusting these guys more than I trust Jalen Hurts, especially from his regular season to postseason. There's no argument that it improves. And you could argue that for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes didn't have any time to throw in the pocket today. Josh Allen, I'm not going to come after Josh Allen because he also had a great playoff run. But like I said, when it comes to guys like Lamar Jackson, who only decrease in their play in the postseason, he kind of leaves his team out to dry because that's not what they are accustomed to seeing based in the entire regular season. That's not how they won games, having to overcome turnovers. So I'm going to leave it at that, and you can respond to whatever I just said,
Yeah. I want to push back a little. I would remove Joe Burrow from those conversations. I think he's now he's one of 2 active players still to beat Mahomes. I feel like some stuff is out of his hands, and
I'll give you that. I'll give you that one. I love Joe Burrow. I'll give you that one.
A lot of stuff is out of his hands, and I want to not just to give credit to Jalen Hurts because not that he doesn't deserve credit, but I want to give credit to Howie Roseman. I think this might be one of the greatest teams I've ever seen assembled, and that goes because I'm thinking about it, and this is before the Chiefs game even started, and this is why I said I just don't bet against Mahomes because Mahomes was my only resource of why they would win the game.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs finding ways to win, obviously, but I can't point to an individual. I'm just pointing to. But other than Chris Jones, maybe McDuffie, and Patrick Mahomes, I don't know who starts on the Eagles.
Right there.
From this Chiefs team.
That's a great point.
They're just a better football team. And I thought that with my theory that usually puts me over the board, and it just didn't today, but usually it does. When I take the team with a better quarterback, and I was wrong today. But I was right against Josh Allen Lamar.
Yeah.
I was right. I've been right in the past. But yeah, like I said, you have Jalen Carter, he's going to be one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time, arguably. He's on that path. If people talking about he could be Aaron Donald. The secondary, elite.
Young
linebacker,
young
corners. You signed Zach Bond. He forced, I want to say, 4 fumbles or 4 turnovers this playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Eagles this playoff had double-digit forced turnovers on their defense. Saquon Barkley, the best player on his team, was so accounted for that. So not to take away from Jalen Hurts, and it sucks. But we won't know, and we might never know with Howie Roseman there, but we might not know for another 4 or 5 years what Jalen Hurts looks like when he has the same roster as everyone else. And this is not a knock on Jalen Hurts because he did what he was supposed to do. The same knock on like my guy Tatum, like he did what he was supposed to do. So I'm not knocking Jalen Hurts at all, but I think it needs to be acknowledged more as this might just be one of the best teams ever. Because when you're arguing how the Eagles team would get beat, they haven't been beaten since the bye week when Jalen Hurts played a game start to finish. Exactly. They were not beaten this year. So I think, like most teams were in recent memory, you give Stafford a lot of credit. But even that team was stacked. You give Mahomes a lot of credit doing more. Last year, he won Super Bowl when his team led the league in drops. This is not one of those scenarios. I think, not that, once again, Jalen Hurts still needs to be in top 5 conversations now, but this needs to be talked about as one of the best teams, probably the best team of the decade, I would say, if we're just going off roster. And I'd have to look at like all-time teams, but this has a great mixture of the new era of putting up a lot of points offensively and an all-time defense. It was the number one defense in the NFL. So uh, I don't know what offseason looks like for y'all, who y'all are losing.
Yeah,
But if
we got a couple guys that are free agents, but
yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. But if you bring back the same sort of team, I would assume, as long as y'all get the OC hire right with Kellen Moore leaving, y'all are Chiefs once again. It might be a rematch next year. So
yeah. And I'm glad you touched on what you touched on. I think Jalen Hurts is kind of the equivalent to Jason Tatum. Guys that don't get the complete amount of credit for winning basketball games, for their style of play being equivalent to helping their team win. So I'm glad you did point that out. And also, another thing I think you pointed out, but you didn't completely go there. I think this is the best team of all time. The best team of all time. And why I say that is because if this Chiefs team was to win this game, what percentage of America would have said that this Chiefs team is the best team of all time? What do you think?
probably a lot of people, but I feel like you've stated in the past, are we referring to it as these same core pieces or this team? You know what I mean?
I'm talking about this team that went 15-2. Let's not forget they went 15-2, and really they lost the game when they were sitting their guys, and they beat Lamar. They beat C.J. Stroud. They beat Lamar Jackson in the regular season. They beat Justin Herbert in the regular season. Beat Josh Allen in the playoffs. They beat every team you could think about. And this
Right.
team was the Eagles were doubted going into this game, and the Chiefs were heavy favorites. I heard it from everybody. Not heavy favorites, obviously. People were still betting on the Eagles. And they
Yeah, it
were
was
one
pretty
and a half.
even.
Yeah, but this team won't be given credit. And once again, I don't want this to be lost in translation to where everybody thought the Eagles were going to win, because that's not the case. And that hasn't been the case for the entire playoffs and for the entire season. And the only team that I think can match this squad is the 2012, 2013, or 2013 Seattle Seahawks, where they had
Okay.
that stacked defense, Russell Wilson playing quarterback, and
Marshawn Lynch.
and I think Russell Wilson and Jalen Hurts, they kind of get those teams discredited. But let's not forget, Russell Wilson then was easily a top 5 quarterback. I don't care where he is right now and however good he's playing. Russell Wilson was playing like a top 5 quarterback in that
Easily.
particular season. Jalen
Easily.
Hurts played great in this postseason run. I mean, obviously not the first game against the Packers where we were asking all these questions, the Rams where there was a snow game. But he managed these last 2 games perfectly and eventually led us to wins. And with this defense, like you said, there's young guys, there's old guys, guys that have been here before, guys, sneaky athletic guys, my 2 white boys in the defensive backfield. Like, there are
Right.
guys everywhere on this squad. When you talk about the best running back in football on one team, maybe the best receiving tandem in football on that same exact team,
Yeah.
this team absolutely has to be put in to at least a top 10 NFL football team ever. And that's a credit to Howie Roseman assembling this damn Avenger squad that they got going on. I mean, this is ridiculous. And like you said it all. I mean, this win is a testament to Howie Roseman and his front office assembling these guys and his coaching staff along with Vic Fangio. It just felt like everything came together. And I'm honestly, I could not be more excited.
And we talked about we've talked about this in the past NBA video, but one thing that doesn't get touched on enough, especially for your average viewer, they don't understand. They just look at LeBron, Mahomes. But the GM is probably one of the most valuable positions in the sport. Like, there's nothing more valuable. Like, no matter how good a player is, he was acquired from that GM.
Exactly.
And the GM had to make that happen. He had to make that draft choice. He had to. So, you see it time and time again. The reason that the best franchises are always good, I mean, since 2000, the Eagles they haven't had a drought at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So that's a testament due to ownership,
Yeah.
a lot of front office positions, GMs, and it's not talked about enough. I mean, Veach doesn't get enough credit with the Chiefs, how he reconstructures they're a top offense with Tyreek Hill, bad defense. All of a sudden, they're a great defense, above average offense. So, and another thing I want to touch on is, and I've seen it multiple times, and I saw it over the college football playoff, with Ohio State and Notre Dame, and I saw it with the Chiefs and Eagles. But a lot of the Eagles players giving just glory to God after their wins and their losses over their playoff runs, and I love to see it. As networks like ESPN, certain networks don't want that to be
Broadcast.
Broadcasted post game and things of that nature. And it's just good just to bring glory to the reason that they're successful and that they would have none of this without him. It starts with the head coach Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, all the way down. I just love to see it. A team that I can say I didn't want to see the Eagles win. After it just makes me like, okay, like I'm happy for him, happy for guys like that give all their glory to God when they're successful. So yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think that is something that has thoroughly been improving throughout all sports, especially this game that is football, because football is just such a family-oriented game. And you do see guys like C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, Patrick Mahomes always giving glory to God after these games, after these hard-fought victories. And what's important about it is, like, honestly, I think all Eagles fans can say this. After the game, we would have loved to see Jalen Hurts say F you to every single person in the media after that game, and he did not go down that route. He, like you said, his first thing was to thank Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, for blessing him with the opportunity to get here. And that's why some of these athletes are where they're at today, because of their mindsets going into these things.
Their faith.
Their faith is so important, and let that be a lesson to everyone. Faith will get you wherever you want to go. As long as you put that trust in God, it takes care of itself. So
Yep.
I am glad that you pointed that out. But we will skip on to the Chiefs real quick, and I don't even want to talk about the Chiefs at first. What I do want to talk about is other teams in the AFC. I think other teams in the AFC should be sickened by the fact that they did not take advantage of the Kansas City Chiefs these past 2 years.
Yes.
And I have been saying this for a long time. This Kansas City team, it's Kansas City. This winning culture cannot be denied. But Patrick Mahomes, statistically, his last 2 years have not been Patrick Mahomes. This
No.
team, these outside weapons have not been world beaters. And now going into next year, Rashee Rice is coming back. Xavier Worthy has now cemented himself as at least a top 2 receiver. And for KC, this is obviously a horrible loss, because you were going for a three-peat, and now if that's the goal, you got to win 3 more, and that's just not happening. I mean, if we're being honest, they're not going to win 3 straight. Again, this was probably their only shot at it, but it doesn't diminish the dynasty that they do have. And like I said, teams like the Ravens, who played around and didn't play their style of football the last 2 years, when they had ample opportunity to get here, they easily could have got to a Super Bowl, at least one. And Buffalo, same thing, taking advantage of their opportunities. They should be absolutely sick, especially with the beatdown that we just put on Kansas City. And I'll give you credit. You did pick the Chiefs in this game, but you said if the Eagles won this game, this would be a blowout. And I agree with you. And we were exactly right, because once again, the personnel stacked up well. And I trusted Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni in this big time moment, because they've already been here before, to execute at the highest level, and they were better than that 22 team, and that's what they did. And like I said, it is horrible for the AFC teams to watch this, because I can't see a world where the Kansas City Chiefs get worse.
No. And I was also on top of that, my take was that if the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat, the four-peat is more alive than the three-peat was, in my personal opinion.
Absolutely, yes.
And like you said, Rashee Rice coming back, this front office, like we're talking about again, has proven to have great drafts time and time again. They've proven time and time again, whether it's Kadarius Toney, whether it's DeAndre Hopkins that it didn't work out how they exactly wanted to this year, that before the deadline, they're going to sign or trade for somebody that's going to be a key impact right away. This defense is coming back for the most part. To be honest, after a good draft, you just need to hit on maybe one offensive piece. You don't have to though.
Absolutely.
You don't have to, but hit on one offensive piece. Maybe Genty falls to you. Like, I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
No, and
there's
that's
so
what
much.
I see them taking a running back as well.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this offseason. They're gonna get better though.
Yeah.
The Chiefs will be better next year. And I just don't know. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that I think they might have missed their window. The Ravens might have missed their window. I hate to say it. The Lions might have missed their window.
Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see, obviously, coming into next year. But I think next year, if I had to make a prediction right now, I would have to have a rematch, I guess, in the Super Bowl. I don't know what other teams I could see. I can't see, but and the reason is I think Kansas City is going to have such a great regular season next year. Maybe not as good as this year, 2 losses, but that they might have home field.
Yeah.
And I don't see any team coming into Arrowhead in the AFC and beating them other than Joe Burrow. And I'm not. Once again, we just talked about front offices. I am not. They have a terrible front office. I'm going to just put it to you like that. They're a cheap front office. And they're pretty much the opposite of the Eagles. They don't go out and make moves. They don't go out and pay guys. The Eagles would have paid Jamar Chase. They would have paid T. Higgins. They would have paid all these guys. And they're just.
They have. They paid their two receivers early. They got that over with.
Exactly. I mean, they're just cheap, So, whether it's coach, defensive coordinator, quarterback, they might have the best defensive coordinator, him or Fangio.
Yes.
They might have the best. They have the best head coach. They have the best quarterback, and they have a top 2 front office, in my personal opinion. So I can't count that out on any given year. I can't count the Eagles out now. It's getting to the point where I can't count the Eagles out because of their front office and the amount of talent that they have. The Eagles are the type of team they could go 9-8 next year, but if they keep the same talent, it's like, how are you going to beat them when they're locked in?
And they've been there. They've been there before. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. Another team I would look out for in the NFC to make the Super Bowl next year is the Washington Commanders. Have a lot of money.
Yes, they do.
A lot of money, and they just. I mean, you have McLaurin. You have solid receivers. I mean,
they got guys.
They got guys. You can maybe get one more offensive weapon, but you might just do that in the draft, and then just
They'll probably sign someone. They could go get a T. Higgins or a Tyreek Hill even if they want to get in trade talks with them. I'm thinking the same thing as you. As far as contenders go, I wouldn't necessarily pick a rematch yet. I think it's too soon to make those type of picks. But in the NFC, the only people I can see competing right now are Washington, like you said, and Green Bay. If they do go out and get a receiver one, that's definitely a possibility. And in the AFC, Baltimore, are you finally going to get over that hump? I saw progression in the playoffs, which is what I wanted to see. It's going to be about if Derrick Henry can stay healthy for another season. I mean, Derrick Henry might be the running back Iron Man. I mean, it's impressive to see what he has done year after year in terms of staying healthy, kind of like LeBron in terms of taking care of your body and making sure you're in shape for your team and productive for your team. So maybe the Ravens can get back to that point. And like I said, Lamar Jackson did progress in this playoffs. I thought in that second half versus Buffalo, he played a great, perfect football game in that second half. Once again, now he still needs to clean up those costly turnovers in the first. But I think they're the only team to dethrone KC because KC, I do think there will be a little bit of fatigue of just being there every year, just kind of being tired. And I do see that happening to them, even though they still will be a great team. But yeah, man. Another thing I did want to touch on, the fact that Saquon Barkley did not get more than 1 or 2 first place MVP votes Blows my mind. And
Um,
I know we value the quarterback. I know we value the quarterback. Lord, I know we value the quarterback. But as far as an individual that made a difference for their squad this year, I can't see a world where Saquon Barkley was not that guy, was not the number one playmaker and difference maker in the league this particular year. I saw Josh Allen with I'm not mad at Josh Allen winning the award, trust. I mean, this guy lifted up players that weren't really great. Skill position players, probably below average. And he took them to an AFC championship. I understand that. Stats didn't jump off the page or anything. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I thought he should have won it, if anything. If it was going to be a quarterback, I thought Lamar should have won it. But once again, I'm not mad at it. But the fact that Saquon was not at least in the mix, because you have to consider quarterbacks, is a let's just make it the quarterback of the year award, because the MVP is not a serious award anymore if we're not going to reward a running back season like this. Even
yeah.
Jamar Chase, with winning the Triple Crown this year, got no consideration. What is the point of the MVP award now? Let's call it the damn Roger Staubach Award, the damn Troy Aikman Award. Let's give the quarterbacks an award. I think they do that in baseball, right? Don't they do like pitchers?
I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, they have Golden Glove and they have, yeah.
Yeah,
Cy
so
Young is the pitcher.
the
Cy
Cy
Young is,
Young, yeah, like why don't we just do that for quarterbacks? Because once again, I understand Saquon not winning the award. I understand running backs are not as essential as quarterbacks. But come on, bro. I mean, if there's gonna be a season where any other person than a quarterback could win it, it was this year, and he didn't do it. And even in a rough game today, we gave him the ball 25 times because we trusted him to make something happen. And he had some runs where he got us some good yards. He fought hard today. I just don't understand him not getting any first place votes. I just don't understand it.
yeah. I think the only argument you could have for Saquon not getting the award, at this point is you could, I guess, say there's too much credit to give around. His O line, his
Yeah,
quarterback, his defense, his so that's the only thing I could say. While with Josh Allen, there's not a lot of credit to go around.
very true, very true.
That's the only thing I would say. The second thing I would say is, and I want to, maybe I'm just wrong for saying this, but I want the awards to be done after the year.
Yes,
Um, in NBA and NFL.
yes.
Simple reasons like um, Jokic not winning the year he won the title and they gave it to Embiid. Um, watch the whole year. Just watch the whole year and you'll
Absolutely.
really see how valuable this guy is and how
Yeah.
he elevates players who just aren't what they are made out to be. I think same thing with the NFL. Don't give a guy the most valuable player of the year award when he could literally be the reason his team lost in the playoffs.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, I completely agree with that. I don't see what the point of just sticking the NFL honors into that week. That is the definition of a money move right there. Just
Yeah.
putting the NFL honors into the week before the Super Bowl. There is absolutely no point in doing that. I completely agree. And I mean, it didn't really affect this year's MVP voting because I think Josh Allen would have won after the year regardless. But
Right.
at the same time, it's horrible to see. I mean, like once Lamar Jackson has won awards and then went into the playoffs and just played horrible football. Last year was a prime example, honestly. And Lamar
Right.
Jackson didn't even come out of last year with the greatest stats. Another year where a running back could have won in Christian McCaffrey. So, and
And I think,
who took his team to a Super Bowl, by the way. So
yeah.
that's my point. Like if you wait a little bit, last year was a perfect example of who really should have won the MVP award.
And another thing I want to touch on is the running backs need more respect. You have Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, two that went to different teams this year, and they were by far the two best running backs. I don't really want to hear about Jahmyr Gibbs this year. He's the future, but Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley are the two best running backs in football this year. Next year might be different, but Christian McCaffrey the year before, best running back, took us to the Super Bowl. You're seeing the value on these players. They started to go more into offense and passing because it's more of a passing error than a running error. But I can't say honestly. I can't say honestly that having the best running back in football doesn't give you a elite advantage when you have a lead to keep the defense honest. I feel like there was a stigma or there's this, I don't know, this vibe that running backs aren't valuable, and I feel like that has all been put to rest by
Oh
the
yeah, that's
past two
gone.
seasons. By the past 2 seasons of the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. That's completely gone. You saw it tonight. The Chiefs don't have a difference maker in that backfield. Kareem Hunt is obviously a little bit older. And I've been talking to you about Isaiah Pacheco for a long time. I feel like he runs very hard, but it looks very slow every time. I don't think
Yeah.
he's as explosive as his running motion would lead you to believe. I think, like you said, they're going to be in the market for a running back in this draft class, and that's going to be extremely important for them because, I mean, like you said, this running back position is becoming extremely important because when you have guys like Saquon Barkley who can generate explosive plays out of the run game,
Right.
it becomes a complete difference maker. Not every team has that. I would argue 80% of teams don't have that. Guys that could just take the top off out of the backfield. Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, like you said. Josh Jacobs is a great back. And
Right.
I know there's some other guys that I'm forgetting, but that is a complete difference maker when running backs can take pressure off of your team by popping one for 20 or 25 yards just out of nowhere, making something happen out of nowhere.
100%.
So, yeah, man, I'm proud of my birds. I obviously, as you can see, I think y'all notice I really don't even have a voice right now. I've been
Yeah.
screaming for the past 6 hours. It's 12 o'clock right now. And, man, look, I told everyone. Like, once again, I told everyone what was going to happen. I called this at the beginning of the playoffs. And, man, Jalen Hurts, at least for a little while, he put all his haters to rest once again. And that's what I really was excited for this game. A guy that people said was the weak link of this football team, and the reason the reason they would lose was gonna be because of Jalen Hurts. He put that to rest tonight, and look, that's all I can ask for. That's all I can ask for.
Right.
All right, so you good?
Yeah, I'm good. That's all I got. Congrats.
Oh yeah, we need to touch on that too. Your Celtics just won. My Eagles just won.
It's
And
probably going to be one of OKC or the Celtics to win the title this year, odds would say. So it's going to be
we are
my
going when it
Celtics.
gets to that point, we are going to be very heated on this podcast. So if you are
If we get a Celtics Thunder podcast finals, this podcast is going to get heated
and
because we.
I don't give a damn if SGA isn't playing. I don't give a damn if Chet isn't playing. I'm rolling with the Thunder one. I'm gonna find a way in
You're
my
not.
mind.
You're not rolling without SGA.
No, I
No
mean,
one is.
I know. Let's chill. All right, I'm gonna chill on that one. But I'm rolling with my Thunder if we got SGA on the floor. All right, that's all I'm gonna say
Say that.
about that one. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Fly Eagles fly. Like, comment, subscribe, man, and peace out.